Hi everyone, welcome back to our monthly fancy fold challenge organized by Monika aka Paper Mona. And the other participants in this challenge are also Monika from Crafting with Quilling Lady, Christine from Christine Cards and Things, Jenny from Ginger Ninja, and myself. This, however, is an open challenge and anyone can participate. I will talk about that a little bit later in this video. So for this month, we are creating a squash card. And for my card base, I'm starting with an 8 by 8 inch piece of cardstock. And I'm scoring down in the middle at 4 inches in both directions. I'm going to turn the cardstock to the other side, the reverse side. And I'm going to line up two of those corners into the same groove. I just chose the 6-inch mark, but you can use any groove at all and just score from corner to corner. Now I'm going to fold these and I'm making sure that all the fold lines are nice and straight. This will only work if we're folding this correctly. So I am burnishing the score lines very well in both directions, making sure the corners match up. And now I'm going to turn this cardstock to the reverse side and I'm going to fold alongside the diagonal line, and I'm going to make sure again that that corner matches up perfectly. So this is the base of the fold literally, and I will need more pieces of these. You can use 2, 3, 4, 5, how many as you want. I am going to be using 3 of these today, so I already created the other 2 ahead of time. And I'm going to glue this together. Now, the trick to this is that while on that first one, those folds are mountain folds. So do you see those two sides sticking upwards? And this one, I'm going to place it so it will be sticking downwards. They will create a valley fold in the middle. And the next one will be again the same as that first one was. The fold will create a mountain fold. So it will be sticking upwards again. I'm using my coral glue to stick this together. I'm not using heavyweight cardstock here. This one is 190 GSM, but you could go in 170. I think that would work just as well, because the heavier the cardstock is, the bulkier this card will be, and the harder it will be to create nice sharp looking folds and corners. So now I'm going to add this last one. You might think that it may be flimsy with a lighter weight cardstock, because normally I would use like a 300 GSM cardstock for my card bases, but because I will be adding so many other mats and layers to this, that this will be really sturdy, and especially because I'm using the coral glue, which I've talked about before, it will make it feel real nice and strong. I just like to burnish those core lines every single time I fold them down. So you can see how that 4 by 4 inch square of a card expands into that huge lovely display. It will look so gorgeous when we are finished with this. So to decorate my card, I'm going to use Chloe's Creative Cards box kit, which I've been dying to use for some lovely project, and I thought this one was the perfect occasion to dip into this one. I've shared about this magazine. I will leave the link in the description box below if you would like to check it out. So for the papers, I chose out these 3 from the box kit, the magazine, and then 3 different colored papers, coordinating color papers from the Leafy Lace A4 printed paper pad. So for my mats, I will be using the papers from the paper pad, and I've cut down 10 pieces to 3 3/4 of an inch squared. So I chose the 3 colors and I cut 10 pieces out. Now I will be working first of all with only 6 of these, and then I will come back to the other 4 a little bit later. The pattern papers on top of these are the ones I showed you earlier on from the magazine, and I've cut down 6 squares to 3.5 by 3.5 inches. I am going to cut all of these, the mats and the layers, into triangles by placing them into my guillotine and cutting from corner to corner. It's very nice and easy to line up. I will be adding these onto those triangular pieces on my card, where we have scored and created those mountain and valley folds earlier on. So now I'm going to cut all of these down. I'll just show you a couple in here, and then I will be doing the rest of camera, because this is quite repetitive and there's quite a few of these to be cutting down. So I just cut from corner to corner, making sure I have lined it up properly. So that's them all cut, both the mats and the layers, And now I'm going to start layering these up on top of each other using cola glue to leave it nice and sturdy. And I am going to mix match the colors. So I'll not be adding pink on top of the pink, but the pinks will go on top of the greens and yellows and so on. So once I have them all nicely layered up, I'm going to glue them onto my card base. And the way I'm choosing the patterns in here, I'm just making sure that on every one of these squares I have the three colors. So a little bit of a pink, a little bit of a yellow, and a little bit of a green. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them all down. And then I'm going to come back with the other four square and I'm going to glue those onto the middle sections in there, which are full squares, so we haven't scored them down halfway. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to take the opportunity to mention a little bit about the Facebook group, which is attached to this Fanciful Craft Challenge. And it is run by Monika, aka Paper Mona, and it is a wonderful community in there. If you like fancifuls and fun fold cards, it's definitely one for you to check out and join in. You can share your lovely makes in there. But if you don't use Facebook, you can still share your makes on social media anywhere. Just add hashtag FFC Challenge 2023 to your post so we can find your lovely makes. We would love to see what you make. So in here I'm just organizing, trying to find out what to put where, and these two dice came with the box kit magazine. This is the dancing fairy, and then there's a fairy that is kind of in a sitting position, and I will be using both on these cards today. And I'm just trying to kind of organize what to put where, and the sentiment that I will be using says, may everything that makes you happy be yours today and always. Happy birthday. And this is from one of the newest stamp and die sets from Chloe's Creative Cards. I will leave links to everything I can in the description box below. And the way I'm going to decorate that last panel in there was inspired by something that I created when I was working on the commissions for this magazine, but ended up not using. And it was this lovely stenciled circle. And I will come back and use this piece on a different make, but for today this is what I'm going to show you how I created, only I will be using obviously a square piece of card today. So I've cut 4 pieces of watercolor cardstock to 3 5/8 of an inch by 3 5/8 of an inch. And the reason behind this measurement, because 3.5, look, that would have left a much bigger border in there, which is still a very nice look, but I just wanted my borders to be just as thin as they look on those triangles. So 3 5/8 of an inch square for all 4 of those pieces. And the reason I went with watercolor cardstock, because I did not want to have them as white as they look in there. So I just chose this oxide ink, and this one is the Speckled Egg, which is a very light color, and I am going to even more dilute it with some water. And I'm just doing some ink smooshing, and I'm dipping it in here and there, and I'm going to do this to all 4 pieces. I'm spraying both the cardstock and the ink smooch there on my glass mat as well. So once they are all done, I decided there's a little bit something missing. So I came back with a little bit of salvage patina as well. So on this one, I'm adding both in there, Speckled Egg and salvage patina. And then the other 3 that I already inked up, I'm going to come back with salvage patina only, just on the top a little bit. I think it just brightens it up a little bit, adds a little bit more life and more texture to it. Again, it's well watered down, and by the time these dry back, it will be just a very faint color, but I think it will go very, very good with the theme that I'm working on, the color theme, and it will just add some extra interest rather than just having those panels stark white, which I really didn't like at all. And once all those 4 panels are nice and dry, it really is just time to decide what way to decorate them all on top of the decorations that I already chose and decided on. I picked out this stamp set which came in the box kit, and it is jam-packed with some lovely, lovely flowers and fairies, mushrooms. So there's these lovely flowers, but I end up not using these. I will use different flowers. You'll see in a moment. I just keep changing my mind. I have some of these prepared, which I've done quite a while ago when I first received the magazine, and they've been sitting in a little box, and also the bees are from the stamp as well. So to create that kind of a look, I'm going to take one of these panels, and I am so excited about this accessory in here. So this is the magnetic mat from Craft Stash. This is from the Creative Craft product range, and I've been having my eyes set on this one ever since they came out with this new line of products, and I am in love with it. I think this is just so cool. So I'm gonna bring in some distress oxidings. It's a squeezed lemonade, pickled raspberry, salvage patina, and spice marmalade. And of course, I opened my stencil brushes upside down, so they all fell out. So I'm taking out some of those brushes to match the colors, and in a little while I will bring in tumbled glass as well. You'll see. No, sorry, broken china it is. Broken china I will bring in. So I am adding, just kind of following the color pattern on the one that I already created. And I'm using, just for masking, these post-it note tapes, just to keep certain colors to certain areas ish, because then again I'm letting the colors mix as well, because that creates another lovely shades then to those colors. So I'm not doing any clean and simple coloring in here. I'm letting those colors, you see how they are washing into each other, and they're creating some lovely new shades for me. So I have to say, this magnetic mat had made this stenciling so much easier. The last time I did this, I was taping down the stencil onto my surface. This one definitely was worth the money. I am also very excited. I'm waiting for the rotating stamping platform to arrive. I received it as a gift when I signed up to Creative Stamping Magazine. Well, I haven't got the gift yet, so I cannot wait. I really am buzzing. I'm checking the post every day. Well, it hasn't arrived yet. There's a couple more weeks, so hopefully I'll see it soon enough, and then I can share it with all of you guys. I've seen some wonderful projects being made with it, and I really have so many ideas for that one. So back to this project, as you can see, I'm just shifting those post-it notes to different areas of this stencil, and every now and again I just clean my stencil off a little bit, and I am coming in with two different colors to every single one of these elements: the butterflies, the flowers, and then for the stems of the flowers and the leaves I will be using salvage patina. Now I'm going much heavier handed on this one with the inks than I did on the previous piece that I showed you, but I just felt that the stronger colors worked a little bit better with the card that I'm creating today. And I have to say that these stencil brushes make coloring in stencils, tinier pieces of stencil, just so much easier. I really love using these brushes. I'm using them all the time, like not necessarily just on videos, but they are definitely always at hand, because I like to reach for these ones quite a lot. So these are from Craft Stash, from the Creative Craft product range, and I have to say they truly are amazing. I think I'm gonna get another box for all the different colors, because right now I keep swapping them between certain shades of a color, but I would like to have some more of these maybe in the near future. And here I'm just cleaning off the stencil without moving it, so I'm keeping it in the same place. And I'm going to bring in Ultra Sparkle Glitter Paste by Cosmic Shimmer, and this one is the Frosty Sparkle. You can see a bit of cellophane in there because I lost a little insert from underneath the lid, and this is just helping me keep it nice and moist. You can see that pot is nearly empty. I do use this one a lot on projects. I love this stuff. So you can see, just with my two palette knives, I'm spreading it all over this stenciled piece of cardstock, and I'm just making sure that I'm getting into every single detail. This is a small piece of cardstock, and I want it to be perfect. I don't want to have any mistakes on this one or pieces missing the glitter. So I'm in here. I was thinking I should have protected my mat maybe with a piece of scrap paper or copy paper. I'll know for next time. However, it was quite easy to clean this off. So straight away after finishing this, I'm taking the stencil, the palette knives, and my magnetic mat over to the sink, and I'm giving them a good clean, because letting them dry on these surfaces would just ruin them. So I'm going to set this piece of cardstock aside. Look at the color difference in there. You see how much stronger that piece is? Like, this looks wonderful just either way, honestly. So now I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I decided to heat emboss it using diamond white embossing powder. and I did have an idea that is not going to work out, and it didn't. So I'm trying to ink blend over it, but I still don't like it. So I'm just gonna scrap this, well, not scrap it, turn it around the other side, and I'm going to do the ink smooching all over again on the reverse side of this piece of cardstock. And then once it's dry, I'm going to cover the whole back of it, the part where I heat emboss, with double-sided sticky tape, because of the water content and the heat embossing. It's just warped this piece of cardstock quite a lot. To keep it nice and straight on my card base, it's just easier if I have some double-sided sticky tape at the back. So all I decided to do to stamp this with peacock feathers. I think this color goes perfectly with the theme of the card. And now to decide about these fairies, I chose to go with that lovely mushroom for one of these fairies, the one that is sitting down. And for the other one, I'm going to decorate with flowers all around. Not these flowers, I will end up using the other ones, and I put these back into my box just to use in a future project. So I will be using those little ones with some foliage. And to decorate my fairies, I'm going to use embossing powders. The pink one is Razzleberry and the teal one is Laguna. They are both by Wow and inspired by Marion and Besson, and these are both lovely. So this Laguna one is a lovely tealy color, and it will leave it lovely and shiny, while the raspberry one is pink with lovely sparkles right through it. This fairy will be sitting on the mushroom, which already has a sparkles glitter on it, so I don't need to add any more sparkles to the fairy, but the dancing one with the pink will definitely have some sparkles right through the whole fairy, and it's just beautiful. Now this raspberry one is a translucent powder, so it is a much fainter color when I heat emboss it, and because I dropped it too and managed to rub it off on some of the places, I'm going to heat emboss this twice. So once I have the embossing powder melted and the fairy had cooled down, it's very important that you let it cool down if you're going to re-dip it into your embossing pad again, otherwise you could ruin the pad. And ask me, how do I know? I've done it before. So in here I'm just dipping it back into that glittery embossing powder, and I'm reheating it, and twice it just turns out so beautiful, really pretty. So I'm going to start gluing these down, and I'm just going to use my quick grab glue with the fine tip bottle. I find this just really easy to apply, and because it dries clear, even if I get a little bit of an usage out of it, it will not show. And it is the Cosmic Shimmer glue, the acrylic glue in this little bottle. This one or the art glitter glue are my go-to glues lately, but I also love the Nuvo one for very detailed images or where I need a quicker grab. Otherwise, I like to use the Collal glue, as I would have mentioned plenty of times before. What is your favorite glue? I would love to hear. Let me know in the comment section below. So with this fairy, I'm just going to dip this on that piece of acetate where I scribbled some glue onto it already. There's just so many fine details, little swirls at the edges of the wings and the hands, that I thought it was just easier to do it that way. So once I decided on what flowers I will be using, I just started gluing everything down on this piece as well. Just a very important detail I forgot to mention in here. If you're making a card like this, make sure you decorate your squares in this diamond orientation. It is because this is the way that the card will be displayed once it's opened. It would look a bit funny if we had started to decorate these in the square orientation, if you know what I mean. If you're using pattern paper, make sure it is cut in the right direction up. I hope this makes sense. So I'm cutting away all the excess in here as well. And the flowers that I'm using here are a bit dimensional. There are 2 layers to them each, but the second layer is of vellum, so it doesn't really bother me. But this card is going to be a bit bulky. So you see I managed to tear up a little bit of that background, the mat, but once I add my cardstock on top, the decorated cardstock, it will not show at all, so I'm not going to let it annoy me. For all of the other pieces, other than that one stenciled one, which needs to dry, so I need to set this aside and I will let it dry overnight, and then I'll come back to show you what we made in here. So all of these other pieces, I'm adding some double-sided tape at the back, and I'm doing this. I could have added the sticky sheet as I did earlier on with the earlier panel. Well, I just wanted to show you, if you don't have double-sided sticky sheet, double-sided tape just does exactly the same job. So I cover the back of it, I'm lining it up, make sure there's an equal border on all four sides, and I'm going to do the same thing to all these three of the panels, because the fourth panel is obviously drying. I don't want to start messing that up now. I'm going to add some matte and layer onto the top of the card. So the very first one, that's the only one that I'm going to decorate on the reverse side. And the matte is measuring 3 3/4 inches, and the layer on top of it 3 5/8, just exactly the same as it was earlier on the in the middle sections. Now I'm adding a little bit of a ribbon. I was thinking about adding a hole with my hole punch and a little eyelet, but I decided that I did not like the look, not for this card. So I just decided to tape some of this lovely greenish tealish ribbon to the back of it. Now this is going to create a little bulk, but it's not going to look bad, honestly. It really doesn't, and it's not going to be visible anyway when you are displaying this card. If it bothers you, make sure you use a thinner ribbon or you use thicker cardstock to conceal it. Well, I thought it looked quite good, and I am kind of a perfectionist when it comes to cards, especially ones that I know that I'm going to be giving away, and it really looked, honestly, it looked just okay. I brought in some of these floral sequins again from Chloe's Creative Cards, and I just scattered them here and there across those four panels. So this is what it looks like the next day. You can see the lighting is a bit different. It's not the middle of the night anymore, and I have glued that middle part in as well. Just so gorgeous, such a beautiful card. I love the colors on this. I love the decorations, and you can see once we let those mats and layers dry and we have scored and burnished those fold lines properly, it all just falls into place. So as you can see, quite a bulk to this one, and it will not go into an envelope. I created a little box to put this in with a little belly band. The flower and the foliage is from the same stamp set again, and the oval dies are from the circle and scalloped and pierced ovals from Chloe's Creative Cards. The box was made of white cardstock, same as the card, and decorated with exactly the same paper, so it is a lovely match for my card. And the belly band goes over it, and how cute does this look? I think it's such a wonderful present. So there's a lot of room to write your messages at the back. You can obviously decorate the back as well. I felt it completely unnecessary. I will be writing this message when I'm ready to give it away. I know who this card is going to, and I'm just delighted with how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. So stay tuned now for some close-up footage, and please be sure to go over to the other ladies' YouTube channels and check out how they created a squash fold card. I know I cannot wait to see everyone's take on this one. And also go over to the Facebook group. I will leave all the links in the description box below so you can find your way easily over to the other channels. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please do not forget to give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. I would love you to hit the notification bell so you will get notified and not miss out on any future uploads. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. I really love reading them. The feedback has been amazing, and I really appreciate every single one of you. I will be back very soon with another tutorial, and I really hope to see you then. Until then, bye!